So you need to know from a high level, the tax system likes two types of people. It likes people who, one, invest in real estate, okay? Because the way that your taxes shake out, you get breaks for owning real estate, okay? We won't go too much in depth in that. We'll have to do a part 2 and just talk about just taxes, because taxes will be the biggest bill you ever pay in your life if you don't know what you're doing, okay? So first is understanding that the tax code likes real estate, all right? The second thing is understanding that the tax code really, really likes entrepreneurs, okay? So when you are a business owner, you get additional write-offs. What are write-offs? Write-offs are ways for you to reduce your tax bill. I like to offer solutions.
Go no no
Go
no.
ahead.
Go ahead. Keep going. Because you was about to go exactly where it is. Because I was about to ask you. So what would you think? Well, how do you think that somebody should approach? You know how it is that they effectively use the money that they make from a financial perspective. How do you think that they should plan to use their money more effectively versus just embracing? Because I mean, if we being realistic, you're not going to still, most people are not going to still stay in the space that they're in once they go from 50 to 120, right? So what would you suggest that people do, or how it is that they should start adjusting the way in which they operate once they start getting into that 110, 120, 130 tax range or tax bracket?
Okay, so there's the first thing that I want everybody to recognize, and I wish I could have caught some of y'all in that 50 to 75 range. But the first thing that I want you to know is that for people who live in that 50 to 75 range, if you see them in a new apartment, you see them with a newer car, that person is living paycheck to paycheck. There's no way that they're not. And
I
the
say
average
it
apartment
all the
here
time.
is running you about $2,000 a month. Plus, you got another car payment and all your other bills that's running you about $3,000 a month at a minimum. If you make 50 to 75K, that's everything you made all month. So you are literally living paycheck to paycheck. Even as we move up into that 100K to 130K, a lot of people are still living paycheck to paycheck, right? I don't remember the stats for millennials making over 100K living paycheck to paycheck, but it's
I
kind of
saying that it's
crazy.
the majority of them, the overwhelming majority of millennials that make over $100,000 live paycheck to paycheck. You're right.
Right. And you got to remember, millennials are grown now. They're what, 26, 27 to like 43-ish, right? So it's like, okay, we're grown. We know this. So people are just living paycheck to paycheck. So that's the first thing to recognize is like, okay, because and I hate to go here, but like J. Cole said, love yours. And I talked about the process. And it's a process of literally loving your life and where you are and being okay with where you are right now. Right. So I always call it content, but not complacent. All right. So I need you to be content with where you are. I need you to be content with making the 50 to 75K or the 100 to 130. Because if you don't appreciate what you have now, you're not going to appreciate that 100K month, right? You're going to be like, oh, okay, that's cool. And you're probably going to spend all of it. Okay. So I need you to appreciate where you are right now. So solutions for what to do. So you have a couple options. You have a very drastic option, which is the option that I took when I was building wealth. Some of it's recommended, some of it's not. So let me tell you what I did. So I was very, very scared. And this kind of translated over, right? So I played college basketball. So like a
Did you
lot of
really?
college, yeah,
That's pretty dope.
yeah, it was fun. So a lot of college athletes, when they leave the athletic world, they have this fear. Especially for women, we have this fear of, okay, am I gonna get fat? Am I gonna be lazy? Like, what am I gonna be like without this sport? So even like, professional football players, they go through it too, right? Everybody goes through it. So you have this fear. You're like, okay, well, what am I going to do without that? And so then you cling on really tightly to this idea of what you're supposed to have. So I wanted to make sure that as I was on my journey to building wealth, that I was making sure that I was appreciating what I had and I wasn't having that FOMO. So for me, I went with minimalism. You ever talk about minimalism on your channel?
Yeah, absolutely. You can talk about whatever you want. Listen, me. Let me. I might have to move you over to the. Let me do this. Here we go. All right, you running this show. Go ahead. It's your show. You do what you do. I'm just gonna sit back and chill.
But listen, a lot of people have to adopt minimalism, especially early on in that And I'm gonna say early on because I'm speaking this into existence for y'all. Y'all are gonna have 5-figure months. You're gonna have 6-figure months. You're making 6 figures a year right now. We're gonna figure out how to get that for you monthly because it is possible. And the first idea is accepting minimalism. Okay. So minimalism means something differently to everybody. You have really, really drastic minimalists who own like 3 or 4 items, right? They only eat like completely natural, right? They live in a van like down by the river. Like you can go that drastic, but for me, like I basically cut everything I own to almost nothing. Like I was like, okay, for me, like how can I learn to focus on quality over quantity and what's really important to me? And I'm really glad that I did this in my early 20s because it just made life that much simpler because I was able to focus on, okay, what is quality to me? What means something to me? What is important to me? Because if I go and look at your bank statements right now, that's going to tell me what is important to you. If I go look at your bank statements right now, that's going to tell me what is important to you. If
Ooh, you
I
don't want to
see
see my
you,
bank statement, and my bank statement is ugly. Hit a like for the YouTube algorithm. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. But I want you to also look at the link in the description of this video. This is the link to Jay's Instagram so that you can follow her and then you can reach out to her so that she can give you the game on an even deeper level because we only touching the surface. As deep as you think that we may be going, it's still only surface to people like us. It may be deep to a lot of other people. And she's giving you the building blocks and the fundamentals behind why it is that we think the way we think and why we move the way we move. But I want y'all to make sure that y'all subscribe to her channel or subscribe to her Instagram and then, rock with her and reach out to her so she can actually pour into you. I got a couple super chats I want to ask you. I want you to go through real quick before you continue.
let's go.
So, any tips on the correct way to file taxes? I'm 22 and make $110,000 a year with 3 jobs in California, and I have no dependents. What would you say to that?
I like it. I like it a lot. Okay, Tyler, I'm happy for you. Okay, so listen. This is how the tax code works. And once you understand how the tax code works from a high level, it's going to make filing taxes that much easier. Okay. So you need to know from a high level, the tax system likes 2 types of people. It likes people who, one, invest in real estate. Okay. Because the way that your taxes shake out, you get breaks for owning real estate. Okay. We won't go too much in depth in that. We'll have to do a part 2 and just talk about just taxes because taxes will be the biggest bill you ever pay in your life if you don't know what you're doing. Okay. So, first is understanding that the tax code likes real estate. All right. The second thing is understanding that the tax code really, really likes entrepreneurs. Okay. So, when you are a business owner, you get additional write offs. What are write offs? Write offs are ways for you to reduce your tax bill.